Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. So you ask yourself, how can I learn meekness? Wherever I look, I see pride. When I look inside myself, I find yet more pride. Oh, I know nothing of humility, only pride, all the time. And Jesus says, take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. And so you take up the yoke of Christ, and where the Spirit leads him, you go. How could you go anywhere else? You're yoked together. And so you find yourself in the temple courts, of course, because he has to be about his Father's business. And all the people gathered around him, and he sat down to teach them. And naturally, what with that yoke and all, as he sits, you get pulled down beside him. And it's pretty uncomfortable sitting there on the ground, surrounded by all those people. And to make matters worse, the teachers of the law and the Pharisees, they brought in a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before the group and said to Jesus, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. Now, what do you say?" So you're sitting there on the ground with Jesus, so close to him that it's almost as if these men standing up before him, looking down at him, it's almost like they're looking down at you. Though they've come here to question Jesus, it really feels like they're questioning you, but you're yoked to Jesus. And then since it feels like they're questioning you, suddenly you want to respond. Not just that, but you don't know how. Oh man, your heart is beating so fast. And part of you wants to jump up and shout, "Leave her alone, let her go," and be some kind of hero, like you'd see in a movie, running to the defense of the defenseless, a kind of a knight in shining armor. And another part of you wants to go along with the crowd and say, well, I mean, you're right, it does say that in the law, and just sort of bow out of the whole thing, because let's face it, deep down, frankly, you're kind of a coward. This type of confrontation is really nothing you're prepared to handle. And while you're sweating and pulling at your collar, trying to figure out what you're going to say, you look over at Jesus, and he's perfectly calm. In fact, he's writing you a little message in the dirt with his finger. Here's what it says. They're using this question as a trap in order to have a basis to accuse me. Boy, it's a good thing you didn't jump up and say something stupid. I mean, you read that message just in time. Suddenly, Jesus stands straight up, yanking you up with him, and with a look of perfect calm, maybe even a bit of amusement, he says, "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." Again, he stooped down and wrote on the ground. And as you were yanked unexpectedly again to the ground, you thought to yourself, I never would have said that. I never said anything at all. This woman has been saved, and those men who were judging her, they were going to kill her, but they repented. They left. It's like not only was she saved, but in a way, they were all saved too. And every feeling that came from my heart was wrong, and every thought that came from my mind was wrong, but I was right there in the middle of it all, and they were looking right at me, and some part of me really, in some strange way, is tempted, even though I know that the only reason I experienced any of this was because I was yoked to Jesus the whole time, and yet somehow I kind of want to take credit for it. And So Jesus starts talking to the woman, but you don't hear a word of it. You suddenly realize he knew every inclination of your heart the whole time. He anticipated this very moment before it happened. He wrote you a message. It might be a blessing. Maybe it's a warning. But it says, "Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth."